What's up, guys? It's Monday. Today's video is going to be short and sweet. It's going to be all about the substrate and which one you should choose for your ball pythons. What's going on, guys? So just like the first introduction said, today's going to be all about the substrate for your ball pythons. I'm going to talk about the 5 different substrates that I've used so far. The Rep Bark, paper towels, unprinted newspaper, Aspen, and then the cocoa blocks from Freedom Breeder. I'm going to give a breakdown like price, how it was cleaning for me, the smell of it, any concerns that I had with it, my overall experience with it. Was it better for me or was it better for the snake? I'm going to give you my honest opinion on that. Before we get started on that, guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, share, hit the notification bell. I know I say it every time. I'm going to keep plugging it. I got to plug away. We're a new ball python breeder. We just crossed the 600 subscriber mark. We're new. We're growing. I do videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. I know on Saturday's video, somehow I said Saturday, Sunday. It is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays. I try to mix things in live. I try to go live on Instagram several times a week. I haven't done it in a couple weeks. Been busy with the COVID thing and busy at work. But my Instagram channel is blue_line_morphs. Hit me up on there, DM me on there. I'm always going to answer. I'm sweating in this reptile room. I'm always going to answer, try to get people back. I post in there daily. I'm making it more into a... It's my business page. It's the snake page. It's the Blue Line Morph page. However, I am trying to correspond and talk in it more often and more about my day-to-day life and keep you guys updated and be more familiar and just more personal approach to things rather than just snakes, personal. I mean, business. Running out of air. So... with that being said, I did have my first clutch last week. I am going to be doing a giveaway. 2 of the eggs aren't looking so good. It might be my fault. Might be some of the veins were kind of... wasn't a lot of veins when I looked down that they were robbed. So I'm not entirely sure, trying to correct that problem. But 4 of the eggs look great. I'm going to be giving one of those eggs away completely free. Shipped it out to you free. Big Mama looks like she's going to lay 2, and she'll probably give me 8 to 12 eggs depending. So we're going to have some snakes to give away. So stay tuned for that. I'll probably be announcing that later this week or beginning of next week. My Instagram channel or on here. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to cover, like I said, the Rep Bark, I believe it's called, when I first got into it. Paper towels, unprinted newspaper, Aspen, and then the new cocoa block, Freedom Breeder, the cocoa block from Freedom Breeder that I've been using since Rob. You hear that pitter-patter, Shelby? Lay down, honey. Sit. Okay, I'll go fuck myself. Alright, so the first thing first is, I don't have anything to show you, but the Rep Bark. I bought that on a whim real quickly at actually a place called Shirley Pet and Feed, where I buy all Shelby's food. They happen to have like a little reptile section. I picked that up. It wasn't bad. It held the humidity. It was cheap for like a bag. It was probably like, I think it was like, the bag was about that big. It was like 19, 20 bucks. It was good for probably 3 or 4 of the 32, 28 quart tubs for like a sea serpent rack. I'm not entirely sure how it would fit in the ARS rack because at that time I only had my sea serpent rack. But it held the moisture well and had the humidity well. However, it like stayed damp. Like once it got damp, it stayed that way. And it started to grow a little bit of mold, and it started to grow some mites, not mites, but like little like gnats, if you will. No mites. A little bit of gnats, and I hated it, and it smelled like when I emptied it out in my house. I didn't rinse it or do anything like that, but my house smelled like wood afterwards, so I wasn't into it. Also, I deal with a lot of pieds, and also my Luna, my white diamond. So when it would get damp and they would slither, I guess you could slither around in there. Their skin, especially the whites, would like pink out or get like really dirty looking. Now I know that doesn't matter to the snake, but to me it's kind of a pain in the ass. And overall, I didn't like it, so I ended up switching out. And I ended up going to paper towels. Okay, paper towels are, listen, you pick them up when you go shopping, right? You're gonna have paper towels in your house. They're really easy to go. So what I would do is I would every single time. That way, every single time I put the paper towels down in my quarts, my tubs, the 32 quart tubs, I would lay it out and have the same amount each time. So I would literally count like that. You have like the sections. I would count like 6 and 6, fold it in half, and put it down. It fit really well in there, and as long as I misted it every day, it held the humidity decently well. However, once the snakes, peed or once they defecated, it would just destroy the paper towels. And then ultimately, too, once I did mist it 2 or 3 days in a row, if the snakes were active, some of my snakes were more active than the other ones, it would destroy the paper towels. I ended up going in there, and the paper towel would be like pushed to the one side or pushed to the one corner, and they'd just be on the plastic. So eventually I got tired of that. Now, the good thing about paper towels is it's always there. But let's be honest, guys. Paper towels are more for us, right? It's easier to clean. You just grab it, throw it out, put new paper towels, and clean it, put new paper towels down. It's good for us. I don't know if it's overall good for the snakes. They could not give a shit. I don't really know. However, I do prefer regular substrate in that regard. So next, what I decided to switch over to is unprinted newspaper. I went to Staples. When you go to Staples, you can buy a pack of like, I think 120 sheets will come about this big right here for like 15 or 16 bucks. So what I was doing is I was literally just folding them in half. I would crease it, fold it in half. And again, this would fit really well in my 32 or 28 quart tubs where I push it down and kind of come up on the sides a little bit. Now, this was very similar to the paper towels. It had more structural integrity, so it was very similar in regards to cleaning and price, right? I stopped at Staples and I'm drenched in sweat. I would stop at Staples and I would pick it up for 15 bucks and it would last probably about 2 or 3 months, okay? Of me, now again, it's only 10 tubs I was switching in and out, so you have to plan accordingly. But it was very much similar to the paper towels, but it had more structural integrity. So when the snakes, when I would mist it, when they would defecate or when they would urinate, it would absorb it a decent amount and it wouldn't break down as quickly as the paper towels. However, it did break down relatively quick. So within 7 days, I had to swap out the paper towel, the unprinted newspaper rather, to put the next unprinted newspaper in. I mean, it's not that big of a deal because it is just, really just grab it, take it out, clean it, and put the new one back in. Easy, good to go. But it was a weekly thing, so you got to prepare for that. I didn't mind the the unprinted newspaper all that much. Held the humidity well, but again, ultimately I decided to switch over and try some different things. I didn't want to make this video a couple months ago, but I wanted to get more experience with it. What I did switch over to, and I tried, is this aspen bedding. Okay, I have some of my Boa's tank. You guys all know what the aspen is, okay? Now here, I'll be honest with you guys, I hate the aspen. Some people swear by the aspen, they like the aspen. I have my retic on, I have my Boa on, I'm switching them over to the Coco, which we'll get to in a second. Again, you can buy that relatively cheap from any pet store. So here's the issue with the aspen. It dries out real quick, I found. It doesn't hold the moisture really well. And when you really try, because when you try to compensate for that and soak the aspen, it ultimately grows mold and starts to stink, and then it gets like clumped together, okay? Once that aspen starts getting real wet, because you're trying to compensate for it drying out so quickly, it becomes one little like mushy crap. And I don't like it. And also when it comes to shedding, I had no issues with the Reptibark, with the paper towels, or the unprinted newspaper. When it came to shedding though, my aspen was just absolutely terrible. My retic got stuck in shed for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I ultimately had to soak her 3 or 4 times just because it's so dried out. Now, with that being said, I use it in the Boa's tank still. That's getting switched over to the Coco block, and so is my retic. Now you guys know, let's transfer over. Next we're going to talk about is the Freedom Breeder Coco block, okay? We got this, Rob, as you know, Rob from Racer Reptiles is living in my basement right now as a traveling nurse. So he's used this, and the first time I used it about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. With that being said, if you do buy this, the only negative with the Coco block is when you break it apart, if you don't dust it out, your tubs will be real dirty and dusty. So Rob does have a great video on his YouTube account, Racer Reptiles, where he makes a homemade shaker. So you can buy one from Freedom Breeders about 500 bucks, state-of-the-art, great system, I guess you could say. But you also make one. So if you want to switch over to the Coco block, check out Rob's video, make that DIY Coco block shaker to get all the shit out of it, and it makes your life a lot easier. So let's talk about that. What I've noticed with the Coco block, once it's shaken out, is it holds up really well, okay? It's much thicker and, I guess you would say stronger than the Reptibark that I used in the beginning, because that would also clump together. What I noticed is if I soak it, I spray with the mister, which you guys saw in my last video, it'll hold the moisture decently well, and the humidity is great for the snake. Now, what I like about it, the humidity was good enough for the snake. I mean, not that humidity is good for the snakes, we all know that, but the humidity was adequate for the ball pythons. Now, what I did notice is the snakes seem to respond much better to it. I'll be honest with you. The good thing about it is, like what Rob told me he does now, I've been doing is we put more of the Coco near the water bowl, a little bit less now towards the heat source, because the snake can essentially move itself down to push the Coco away to get closer to the heat source on the plastic tub. But ultimately, I found this to be, now, it is a little more expensive than the other ones. You can buy 5 of those blocks I showed you, I think for 120 bucks, $100 to $125. Comes out to about $25 per block, I believe. Now, what I found with the ARS 5540, one block can cover about 9 of these tubs. So if you have a 5540, you have it all filled up, you're going to need about 3 of them. Now, the good thing about this is it doesn't smell. Now I've had them in there for about 2 weeks on this stuff, and I spot cleaned here and there. And ultimately, Rob is telling me that you can have these on there for about 30 days, about a month. Just do your due diligence and check. If it starts to stink, you gotta switch it out. But it lasts for about a month. So every month you're gonna have to spend about $100 on the substrate. But I have found that it holds the humidity better. My snakes, all of them have shed since they've been in, except for Luna who laid eggs. All of them has shed since they've been in these tubs. And once I noticed them in blue, within 2 or 3 days, they'll completely shed. So I haven't had any shed problems at all, where when they were on the paper towels, the unprinted newspaper, aspen, and so forth and so on, I've had sheds last longer and come apart in pieces rather than one quick shed. All the sheds that I've had with the Cocoa Block have come out one, like a condom, one long sleeve, unbroken, and within a couple of days. So I really, really like that. Ultimately, the snakes seem to respond better to it. They seem to enjoy it better. And now I know they're snakes, and I know, what's ever easier for the handler, the owner, the breeder, the businessman, whatever you want to say. But if you're going to have these animals, you should respect these animals. And they seem to respond better to this cocoa substrate than paper towels, newspaper, aspen, and the repted bark. So far in my experience, now again, this is my experience, my opinion, over the last year of the 5 different substrates that I have tried, Cocoa Block from Freedom Breeder, I know there are other companies that make it too, it's slipping my mind right now, but the Cocoa Block from Freedom Breeder has gone above and beyond with humidity, moisture, sheds, everything you can think of. My snakes seem happier of it, so happier on it. It might be a little more pricey than you say paper towels, unprinted newspaper, and a little more difficult to clean. It is a project now, opposed to just swapping it in and out. However, if you're serious about this, and you're serious about your snakes, and you want to take care of them decently well, I would suggest doing the Cocoa Block. So that's my take on the 5 substrates that I've used. Again, that's my opinion. Comment below if you guys have any suggestions, questions, or anything else I should try. But so far, I love the Cocoa Block. I'm probably going to be sticking with the Cocoa Block. Until next time, guys, I greatly appreciate it. As always, be safe. Always remember, watch your 6.